Tito moved with deliberate, slow precision. His underside gripped the dew-slicked surface of the leaf, a steady pulse of muscle against the green. The garden path was a landscape of jagged terrain to him. His shell scraped against a loose pebble, a sharp, grit-filled sound in the quiet morning air. He navigated the incline, eye stalks extended, scanning the terrain for the next hold. Suddenly, the light shifted. The warm, golden hue of the garden drained away, replaced by an unnatural, chalky white that bleached the color from the roses and the dirt alike. Tito stopped. He felt the shift in pressure, a sudden stillness that held the air in place. High above, the canopy began to move. Soft, cotton-like flakes spiraled downward, drifting through the branches like slow-motion ash. They landed on the soil, on the leaves, and on the path ahead, gathering in thick, silent layers. Tito did not turn back. He felt the first cold flake land on his back, a strange, weightless burden. He adjusted his path, tested the surface beneath him, and prepared to move forward into the deepening, white stillness.
The garden erupted into hidden panic. A beetle scuttled past, legs blurring in a frantic, uncoordinated rhythm. It collided with a stone, scrambled blindly, and dove into a deep crack in the earth.
Nearby, butterflies abandoned the air entirely, folding their wings and pressing themselves beneath the broad,
protective veins of hosta leaves. The air grew heavy, thick with the silent,
falling mass that buried the world in white. Tito felt the weight increase. Each flake landing on his shell added a fraction of pressure, a cold, insistent burden that threatened to pin him to the soil. He did not falter. He extended his eye stalks, sensing the changing texture of the ground, and pushed. His muscles rippled in a slow, steady wave as he moved across a patch of moss now vanished beneath the drift.
The white layer deepened, muffling the sounds of the garden.
Yet his pace remained unchanged. He crawled forward, leaving a distinct, narrow furrow in the pristine white surface. While the rest of the garden sought refuge in the shadows, Tito continued his transit. His path a lone, dark line, cutting through the suffocating expansion of the white accumulation. The path forward simply ceased to exist. Where the ground should have sloped toward the vegetable patch, a massive, jagged ridge of white rose up, blocking the view entirely. It was a mountain of cotton, dense and tightly packed, towering high above the snail. Tito reached the base of this wall and stopped.
He touched the surface with his eye stalks, testing the resistance. It was cold, firm, and completely immovable. He moved to the left, then to the right,
but the wall stretched out like a barricade, anchored deep into the soil. This was no longer a mere layer of flakes. It was a structural obstruction that defied his usual pace. He felt the weight of the air around him, still and heavy, pressing against the white mass. The path he had followed was buried beneath this new,
daunting height. He retreated a few millimeters,
his shell pressing into the frozen ground as he assessed the scale of the challenge. Every movement felt like a gamble against the sheer volume of the drift. He was small, slow, and alone, staring up at a wall that looked as solid as stone.
Silence returned to the garden, deeper than before, waiting for his next move.
Tito pressed his body against the base of the white mound. He did not retreat. Instead, he forced his muscular foot deep into the soft, packed fibers. He began to pulse, a rhythmic contraction that rippled through his entire body. The mound resisted, holding its shape, but Tito pushed back with every ounce of his strength. He nudged the mass, shifting the dense fibers by mere millimeters. He repeated the movement, slow and deliberate, grinding his shell against the resistance. A crack appeared in the wall. He squeezed his head into the opening, expanding the space with his own weight. He carved a narrow, winding trail through the center of the obstruction, shedding white fibers as he moved. Nearby, a beetle poked its head from a leaf, its antennae twitching in disbelief at the progress. A group of ants huddled in the shadow of a pebble, frozen, watching the snail navigate the impossible wall. Tito's path grew deeper, a dark tunnel opening in the heart of the drift. He did not look back. He focused on the next pulse, the next shift in the mass, until his shell finally cleared the far side of the mound. The path was open. The white flakes faltered. A single piercing beam of golden light sliced through the canopy, striking the center of the cotton mound. Where the light touched, the density dissolved. The mound did not just crumble. It vanished into the soil, turning into dark, damp patches of earth. Tito kept moving,
his path now clearing ahead of him as the sun reclaimed the garden. The air shifted, losing its heavy, frozen stillness. Color surged back into the landscape as the white layer receded. Green leaves flickered and unfurled, shaking off the last of the moisture. Tito reached the vegetable patch,
pulled himself onto the underside of a wide leaf, and stopped. He retracted his head slightly, sensing the change in temperature. The garden was alive again. Other insects emerged from their hiding places, shaking their limbs and moving back into the open. Tito turned his shell toward the warmth, remaining perfectly still. Behind him, a single, clean trail carved through the dirt marked the route he had taken. He had crossed the impossible. Now, he simply rested,
his body absorbing the heat of the sun, firmly established on the life-giving leaf at the heart of the garden.